integers are whole numbers. Now those whole numbers can be positive or negative, but they've got to be a whole number if they are an integer. So if I do posnum equals 1000, and I'll do negnum equals -555. So now I can print these numbers out. So I'll start with posnum, and it will look no different to if I'd stored that as a string. The difference is because I've stored this as an integer, which in effect with numbers is just not using speech marks or quotation marks around them, so it will then store it as an integer. It allows me to do maths. So I could do 1000 plus the negative -555, and you can see I get 445. So for those that aren't confident in maths, we can do something more simple. So 10 plus 5, and you can see when I run it, that now equals 15, where you will have seen in the previous video, if they were strings, that would have joined them together. So integers are whole numbers, whether they are positive or negative. And again, we can use the type to show that it is an integer. So when I run it, you can see it says class int, which stands for integer. So it shows you the type of data that's stored in that variable. So that's integers, really straightforward. But whenever you want to potentially do mathematics on numbers, you need to store them as integers, because if you store them as strings, you're not going to be able to perform the same maths operations. Think of it as an example. If you were making a game and you had score at the top that might start as 0, and every now and again in your game, and I'll show you this in more detail later, but I wanted to increment score by 1, I would have to make sure I'm storing score as an integer so that when I run it, it's going to be able to perform those mathematical operations on it. So if I do something like this and I run it, you can see my score is 4 because it's added 1 to score every time. I'll go through this. This is known as an assignment operator. I'll go through that in a video shortly.